Hi guys, this is a bit of a random video. I haven't got my usual setup, haven't got my microphone or anything like that, so hopefully you can hear me okay. I just wanted to do a really quick talk on meal templates. A few of you have started to implement these and I want to explain it a little bit better. And for those of you that haven't yet thought about it, maybe you can have a think about how this might help for you now or in the future. Usually I recommend it for people that are the tracking is not working. The tracking is not working in a fat loss or in maintenance. People that have been tracking in fat loss, in a calorie deficit, and then go into maintenance and kind of just go off the rails. And there's two extremes. So you're either tracking diligently or you're completely off the rails. So templates are kind of good because they're not as consuming as constantly tracking calories. But you know that you're roughly sitting around a certain number of calories because you've already pre-planned them in your MyFitnessPal or your tracking app, and you just kind of have to follow the template ongoing. But the whole idea of templates is that you don't have to track every single day. So for example, you might have 2 or 3 meal templates that you have in MyFitnessPal, for example, and say your calorie range, say you're trying to lose fat and your calorie range is around 1700 calories. So you would set aside 2 or 3 templates that are pre-planned around 1700 calories, and according to the day, what you have available, etc., in your cupboard, you can just kind of follow whichever template you feel like following for that day. You might follow template A for the whole week, and then you might follow template B for the next week, or you might interchange them. You might follow template A Monday, then template B, and kind of go back and forth that way. So if your calories were 1700 calories a day, you'd go meals 1, 2, and 3 are around about 400 calories, and then you would have about 500 calories to spend on snacks, and you could do like 250 for a morning snack, 250 for an afternoon snack, and plan it out so you're going to roughly eat the same sort of thing every day according to those templates. If your dinner changes, which it happens to a lot of people, like it's just dinners all over the place and very random from night to night, what I recommend is just putting aside, say, 500 calories for your dinner and just have it there. Some nights you might go over, some nights you might be under. It'll all come out in the wash, but you've just got those set aside, and don't even bother tracking, don't even bother trying to track your dinners, but just remember in your head that you've got roughly 500 calories for dinner, and then kind of just eyeball your dinner and just make sure it's around about that. It's not crazy over or under. So in that case, you could have like 400 calories for meal 1 and meal 2, 500 for dinner, and then like 400 calories for snacks, so 200 calorie snacks or something like that. Or you can do 4 meals a day if that works better for you, and divide your calories over 4 meals instead of having those 2 smaller snacks. But with the templates, the idea is that you don't have to track every day, as I said before, so it does help combat tracking fatigue. Some people get completely over it and they can't stick to it, and they know what they should be doing but they just can't do it, and usually that's just because the tracking does make you kind of have to focus on food, and the food focus can be exhausting and consuming, and it's not really healthy at a certain point. So that's when I recommend stepping away from it altogether and just kind of going off templates and eat roughly the same sort of thing on rotation. That's what I do, and I find it works best for me, whether I'm tracking or not. You might still have to measure and weigh some of your foods according to your template. So say your lunch has 30 grams of the bran, then you might still have to weigh your bran for a little while just to make sure you're around 30 grams. But eventually you will be able to eyeball 30 grams of bran. Like, you don't have to continue weighing because you will know roughly how much that is. So I hope that makes sense. But so when you actually, like, practically, if you're looking at how to implement it for the day, say today I'm following template A, which is like, for example, it's toast, coffee, and then yogurt bowl, and then an omelette, and then afternoon snack, which is like an ice cream, and then dinner is random. So we're leaving that random. Say that that's my day. I wouldn't then go in and track. I'd go back to the template and go back to the day that I saved that template and have a look at what's on the menu for the day. Like, look at it as a menu and then follow that for the day, and then that's that. If you know tomorrow you're going to follow template B, make sure you've got everything that you need in the fridge and the pantry for template B. Make sure you've got everything. If you don't have everything, maybe you have to do template A for the day because you still have everything for template A. Make sure you've got everything that you need. Some days, once you get kind of down the track and once you get it good at it and doing the template things, where essentially you're following a meal structure where it's like meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, 2 snacks, for example, you could interchange your meals and snacks. So like from template A, you might use meal 1 and a snack, and you might pull a meal from template B and a snack from template B. So you're kind of mixing and matching because your meals and your snacks are roughly the same calories for each one. So it kind of just works really nicely. It just makes things a bit easier mentally as well, especially when you know that that's your meal structure for the day. I think it's really helpful to figure out a meal structure that works for you. And by structure, I mean what you eat and when, or what meals you eat when. So for me, I have the same meal structure every day according to when I feel the most snacky, and usually it's immediately after the gym, which is usually around 11 a.m. So I eat my biggest meal of the day at 11 a.m, not dinner. It's at 11 a.m. I make sure I have another big meal around 2 o'clock in the afternoon because it's when I usually start looking for food, and it's also just before the kids come home. So I need like the energy to deal with them. So they are my 2 biggest meals of the day. And I have a snack, which is usually an ice cream at around... usually it's around like 2:30 or just before I pick up the kids from school, and that is an ice cream, and that's because that's when I start looking for food. So think about, when do you start looking for food? When are you the most hungry? Fill in your food according to that. It doesn't have to be dinner is the biggest meal of the day. A lot of people do that, but by dinner time, I'm not usually really that excited about food. It's usually for me during the day, like especially after my training. So make sure that the structure works for you. Once you've got the structure, then fill in a template or a couple of templates, pop them on repeat. Tracking, as I say, is very consuming. It makes you quite food focused sometimes, and that can make it harder to step away from tracking. Sorry, phone call. And it can make it harder to adhere to a calorie deficit as well. So yeah, just fill out those meals as much as you can. Trying to think what else to tell you guys. If you do follow a meal structure, also keep in mind that on the weekends, if you have a big night on a Saturday night, Sunday morning you get straight back into your meal structure. And if meal 1 for the day is, as I said to a client when we had a call the other day, if you really just want like bacon and eggs, then meal 1 is bacon and eggs. You don't have to worry about following the template every single day. Like, if at the very least you just follow the structure, it'll make you feel like you've got more control over your food intake, and that will make you feel like you're at least on the right path. Even though that's not part of the template, at least you're following the structure. And if you go off that, you're not ever going to be eating way over the normal calorie allowance for meal 1, 2, and 3 if you just follow a meal structure. If you have a big weekend, you eliminate a snack, for example, and you just add it to the dinner or something like that. So I hope that makes sense. But if you have any questions at all about any of this, please message me. Tracking is the best for fat loss because it's more specific, and it can keep you more accountable to your calories, especially when you're weighing and you actually have to log everything that goes in your mouth. But it can be really exhausting, and that's why I say it's only really good for a short period of time. Have a break from it, and this, using the templates and the meal structures and all of that, can be really helpful for when you're having a break, a mental break and a physical break. And then when you want to get back into it, you can go back into tracking and dial things up a notch. But I do know a lot of clients that get a lot of good, I have had a lot of clients that do get results just off following a meal structure, putting it on repeat. And then if things aren't working, if you find that you're gaining a little bit of weight, then you shave off some calories off meals 1 and 2, or you shave off some calories just off meal 1. And if you find that you're getting really hungry and it goes the other way and you're just ravenous, then you add some calories in and make meals 1 and 2 have an extra 100 calories each or something like that. So you can just adjust and play around as you go with the templates according to your goals and according to your results. I hope that makes sense, but please just ask me if you have any questions at all, and have a good week.